We got the gang back together, and we're better than Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work, work. That's what you say. Hard work, work, work. Earn my pay. Hard work, work, work. Do it every day. Hard work, work. Get up out of quarter to three. Hard work, work. Let me go and earn my pay. Hard work, work. Boots on and lace.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuning into the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Woo. Yeah, that one right there. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media and follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because you know we do everything for the gram. What's going on, y'all? Hey, we got It's a Family Reunion. Ow! It's a family reunion. Hey, joining us now. Because I forgot, I gotta act like I got some tact. You know what I'm saying? Hey, y'all, we got company today. So
let me try to be yourself.
Let me try to act like I got some sense. Joining me today, I have former NFL player, former host of In the Trenches, the best sports radio show in the history of Houston sports talk radio. And if anybody got a problem with what I just said, go see Indy. Joining me right now is former NFL player and former sports radio host of In the Trenches, ND Kalu. Brother Kalu, it has been entirely too long, man. And you know how I know it's been too long?
Why is that?
Because I seen you eat with chopsticks. Last time I seen you was eating with a fork.
Yeah, but it depends what you eating. You know, I'm doing my self-made sushi, so I got to use the chopsticks.
How do you do that though? Because you know what it is for me. I don't think I'm coordinated enough to snap the sticks.
You know, it's actually not that hard. So, you know, early on, I messed around with it, but I was at Benihana some years back, and they had these very simple instructions. In the first chopstick, you hold like a pencil, so that's easy. And then you just set your pointer finger free, and you use your thumb as like the base, and you let the pointer finger control it. After I read those instructions, it was off to the races.
Well, that's because you went to Rice, and I went.
Call me Bruce Lee Nigerian.
Hey, look, that's because you went to Rice. But y'all call it the Ivy League of the South?
We don't call it that. That's what they call it.
Hey, look, I went to Prairie View, so you using a chopstick on my chopsticks right here. I grabbed the sushi just like this, and you know I'll get the real sushi. I get the one that come out of Kroger. You know what I'm saying?
No, I do that too. Look, you're fronting a little bit because I've done some business deals with folks that graduated from Prairie View, and they're some of them are very cultured.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
They are. But that's them the ones that graduated with the engineering degrees or with the nursing school. Yeah, I came out of the College of Business. We called it Hobart, Texas, because it set out by itself. We had to walk. Look, we were on campus and had to walk to campus. That's how far our building was away from the campus. Once again, you tune into the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. I'm Big Sarge. Today I have Indy Kalu with me. Indy, I'm gonna jump right into this thing. How surprised are you that the Houston Texans have a 5-1 record?
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. With what I was more surprised with the success they had early on because I felt like they needed time to grow. So I wasn't expecting them last season to make it to the playoffs. It wasn't a knock on any players. It dang sure wasn't a knock on the coach who should have been the coach of the year in D'Amico Ryans. So with the success they had last year, and then with the additions they made this offseason, I'm not surprised at all.
I have them as one of the top teams in not only the AFC, but in the NFL. And I know that they had a terrible loss to the Minnesota Vikings, and that had a lot to do with it. Seemed like they were still trying to find themselves in that blowout loss. They had a bunch of penalties, and it just didn't seem like they could get themselves started. So, even though they're 5-1, I could see them being at least 6-0, but 5-1 is really good right now. Indy, you played in the league for a very long time. When we talk about these, what they like to consider ugly wins. I mean, they beat the Buffalo Bills with a 59-yard field goal from Kaimi Fairbairn. The week prior, they had to get the ball back and go down the field and score against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've seen what they had to do against the Chicago Bears. How hard is it to win in this league?
Oh, it's hard. That's why I don't believe in ugly wins. Now, if you're really breaking down a game and you're talking about a team that won, but they had multiple penalties, they weren't playing typical fill in the blank of the team football, then I get that, because I do believe even in victory, you have to correct your weaknesses and your mistakes. But it's so tough to win in the NFL. A win is a win is a win. I mean, when this team gets to 10 wins, when we're getting to the point where you're not debating, where you're trying to fight it to get on playoffs, I don't think anybody's going to say, oh, yeah, but what about that victory against Jacksonville? It's closer than it should have been. Or what about the Buffalo? And keep in mind, Buffalo's a top-tier team. I don't care how you beat Buffalo, just beat them, because that's a top-tier quarterback over there, a top-tier team. So it's so tough to win in the NFL. Even if you have the Cleveland Browns on your schedule for 17 weeks, you still have to appreciate each victory.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they would love to play the Cleveland Browns 17 weeks, especially with the way that that former quarterback of the Houston Texans is playing right now. Indy, I'm sorry, and you taught me this. You're like, hey man, look, you gotta watch how you talk about these NFL players, because no matter, you may think that they're this, but they're playing in the NFL. But Indy, I don't know, man, with the way that he's playing. You don't have to elaborate on this. This is just me talking now. With the way that he's playing in these games, Indy, I was like, he doesn't even look like himself anymore. He doesn't even look like the person that I used to see on a daily basis. So as I digress, you're right. The ugly wins, like I say, there's no such thing as like ugly wins, ugly losses, pretty wins, pretty losses. They all count the same. They just wins and their losses. But I said for a couple of weeks, hey, I've been wanting to see them, at least give me a win that make me go like I'm in Caro, like, whoa, wait a minute, hold on, back in the day, wait, hold on, what's over that? Oh, that don't look too bad. And that's what they did in that 41-21 win over the New England Patriots. How hard is it, because they have a big game coming up this week against the Green Bay Packers? How hard is it not to get caught up in like that trap game, that game against a team like the Patriots that you're supposed to win, but you find yourself looking ahead to playing a team like Green Bay?
Again, and I don't want to overstate it, even though I don't think you can overstate it. This is professional football. I don't think any player in his right mind is going into any game saying, oh, you know what, I'm going to overlook this team because we have a big game next week. I could see it in college. And a lot of times it bites some of these colleges in the backside, and that's why you have the big upsets. If you're a Power 5 school and you have a FCS type school, but the week after that you're playing Alabama, I can see it with a bunch of 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. But in the NFL, it just doesn't happen. Now, everybody in sports radio, sports broadcast, if they were to lose to the New England Patriots, we all want to speculate, oh, were they overlooking them? Or, is it this, is it that? No, they just lost to a team who was better on that particular day. I'm not overly concerned with NFL players looking past the team, because that would be idiotic, especially with his coaching staff. If there's ever a coach that's going to have the guys ready every single week, it's going to be D'Amico and his staff.
Could you see yourself playing for D'Amico?
It's hard, because when I
with him,
when I see him, I still call him Young Meek. But I definitely would have loved to have played for a coach like D'Amico.
Yeah.
But, when I see him, I still see in a respectful way. He's obviously grown up, matured. He was a great man as soon as he walked in the locker room as a rookie. But I'm just saying, I still see him as Young Meek.
Indy, I want to take you on the side of the ball that you enjoyed that you had a lot of success on in the defensive side of the ball, and I definitely want to start with the AFC Defensive Player of the Week and Will Anderson Jr. Everybody got a chance to see him. The tackle for losses that he had, the sacks that he had against the New England Patriots. He's a player coming out of college that stood up a lot. I mean, it was times where, you know, depending on the formation, sometimes he put his hand in the dirt, but he didn't have his hand. He was in the 3-point stance a lot. And you and I talked about this before some during his rookie year, but now as you seen him, you know, if you seen him play the rest of the games and you see him playing this year, Indy, how hard is it for a player to go from standing up like that to playing with his hand in the dirt, going from a 3-point stand, 2-point stance like that, and be successful?
Yeah, I don't know if it's hard. It's just different. So every player is different. I personally like playing from a 3-point stance more because you lean into your stance. You know, you lean into that arm that's bracing you, and as soon as you lift that arm up, your body's propelled forward. When I used to rush from a 2-point stance, you know, you wanted to eliminate the false step, but you don't really have that same momentum moving forward. Now, as funny as it may sound, or as corny, I should say, not funny, as corny as it may sound, a defensive end who spent his entire high school, collegiate career, and most of his professional career putting his hand in the dirt. I liked when we got to rush from a 2-point because it looked cool. You look like a linebacker. But as far as productivity and being able to function, if I'm moving forward and I'm trying to get a good get off, you want to get in that track like stance. I'm actually more amazed with like the TJ, the other one, TJ Watts of the world, that have that awesome get off from a 2-point stance. Because if you watch them closely, I'm gonna give you a little bit of homework. When you watch an edge rusher that's coming from a 2-point stance, watch to see if his back foot steps back to kind of gather himself. It's called a false step to propel himself forward. It's just a natural move, but it does take away from your get off. But yet you have guys like James Harrison, who was a beast from a 2-point stance, TJ Watt, to talk about a current player. They're still able to propel themselves forward from a 2-point stance. So my long-winded answer, I don't think it's tougher. It might be a little different. He might be used to standing up and seeing the entire backfield and seeing everything going off. But again, if I'm trying to get from point A to point B, I would rather be in that 3-point track stance.
Yeah, because D'Amico said that that with him coming out of that 3-point stance, now has the ability to use his God-given talent as far as his speed and his power. And after the game on Sunday, he told us, after the game against the New England Patriots on Sunday, he told us that what he's learned to do throughout the season, something that he didn't do last year, was throw his moves and trust his moves. I don't understand what that means by throw your move.
Just execute it. So since we're on camera, like, you know, this move's called a double swipe.
Yeah.
It's one thing to practice it. It's one thing when you and I are practicing before a game and you put your hands out as an offensive lineman and I do the double swipe. It's another thing to actually throw it, to actually try to do it when it matters, when there's live bullets, because you kind of want to just go into your comfort zone of just running right into the offensive lineman, but to actually try that move, to actually try to swat, rip, you know, swat and punch, like those are moves. And it's easy to say, I'm going to try it in practice because if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But in a game, if you miss and that guy gets his hands inside your chest, you can be shown up on somebody's highlights. So you have to trust the move and do it with violent hands.
Yeah, you got to be careful because you get a player as strong as Larry Allen and he can put his hands in your chest.
Yeah. You know what? A guy like Larry Allen, Eric Williams, to stick to the Cowboys offensive line, those guys that were so strong and could really get you in a compromising position, like literally bend you back and hurt you, injure you. A lot of times you're thinking, you know what, let me just run into him, because that thought is, I might not get to the quarterback, but I don't leave myself open. I don't leave my chest open, you know, for him to really embarrass me.
Yeah, and another thing that I've seen that the Houston Texans are doing this year, as far as, you know, when they went out and they acquired, after losing Jonathan Grenard, they went out and they acquired, Danielle Hunter to play on the opposite side of Will Anderson Jr. And this year, Indy, I noticed that they're playing more of a, what do they call it, a wide 9? They're playing more of a wide 9. And, you know, there's been some questions on, well, that seems like it's taking the defensive end farther away from the action as far and making him take a farther turn to get to the quarterback. But from what I can see, and like I said, like I told you before, indeed, the highest I ever got was high school. But on Madden, though, I was a beast. On Madden, I was a beast, though. But indeed, Will says that he actually likes playing it. He said he was supposed to play it that way last year, but he was still learning, still being, as a rookie, still learning how to play the position he was playing. Is there a difference? Because I also noticed, before Aiden Hutchinson with the Detroit Lions got hurt, he was playing that exact same way, and he was leading the league in sacks.
Yeah, I mean, the wider you get, now obviously there's two schools of thoughts, and I don't think either one is wrong. The wider you get, the further away you're getting from the quarterback. But what does that do to the tackle? It makes him have to fly out of his stance to meet you at that junction point. And what does that mean? There's a big ass gap between the C gap and the B gap, so you can do the inside move, you can do the counter move. It truly puts you on that island with an offensive tackle. The wider you get, where the offensive guard can't really help, and if he does help, if the offensive guard, which they do, if he comes and helps when you're wide and you threaten the inside, that frees up your nose tackle, your defensive tackle. So there's benefits to lining up very wide, but yes, it's obvious. It's not even a discussion. You're further away from the quarterback, but when you got an Aiden Hutchinson, Will Anderson type get off, you're going to close that that length, that difference real quickly.
Wow, yeah, because like I said, man, I've been noticing, just watching this defense. This is one of those, I don't. It's more of a bend but don't break, but they don't give up a lot of explosive plays either, and I think that's due to the pressure from Will and from Daniil. But they also have those interior linemen like Foley Fatukasi. They have Khalil Davis, Tim Settle Jr. They getting Danico Autry back before Mario Edwards Jr. was hit with the suspension from the NFL. He had eight tackles on. He was the tied for the leading tackler. I think it was him and Will against the Patriots with 8 tackles. He was having an amazing year, and so I like the fact that those interior linemen are helping those defensive ends out a whole lot because they're putting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. I guess my question to you would be, when you're playing that position and you're getting those quarterback pressures, how hard is it to convert those into sacks?
First of all, I'm proud of you. You know what? You don't do like the rest of these radio hosts and only talk about the low-hanging fruit. I had fixed my mouth when you were talking about Will Anderson, Daniil Hunter. I was literally getting ready to say, don't forget about those inside guys. And the fact that you mentioned them, it lets me know, unlike a lot of these slappies who've never put on a jock strap, really appreciate football and understand how it's working. So,
I learned from the best, man. And I'm not just saying it because you're right here, but you taught me a lot, when you had me on your show.
Nah, props to you for that. But as far as how hard it is, it's hard getting sacks. Like, I don't, when a player ends the season and they have 12, 13, 14, 15 sacks, then you go to the, TJ Watts of the world, the Aiden Hutchinson, JJ when he was here, you start getting to that 18, 19 sacks a season. That's elite. Like that's elite. Like in my best year, I had 9, and I felt like I was true. You can't touch me. And like these guys, give them props. Like they're doubling up on that because of what you mentioned. There's such a thin line between a quarterback pressure and an actual sack. There's so many plays where you beat the offensive tackle or offensive guard with a sweet move, but because the quarterback gets rid of the ball after a 3-step quick drop, there's literally nothing you can do. That happens so many times. So I have a lot of respect for those guys that constantly get double-digit sacks, like Daniil Hunter. I mean, guy right there on the Texas team. We've seen it. I mean, as much of a beast as Will Anderson was last year, single-digit sacks. Jadeveon Clowney, who, again, the sports talk hosts who don't know a drop of football, they just look at his stats and say, oh, he's not good. No, that guy is a beast. And for him to have never gotten double-digit sacks for the Texans, it just lets you know how tough it is. So it's very tough to get a chance to finish a play. And there's also a little bit of luck. There's a little bit of luck involved. there's a little bit of the team concept. If you have two guys coming up the middle and you're an edge rusher and the quarterback doesn't have anywhere to step up, then you're going to get a sack on plays where if he does have somewhere to step up, you just come around that edge and get a pressure. So no, it's tough to get those sacks. That's why you should celebrate.
Yep. I'm going to take you on the other side of the ball right now, the offensive side of the ball. And when you look at a quarterback, and I know, listen, a lot of times some of these, people can't leave a show without talking about CJ Stroud, but I can see why, Indy.
Oh,
Watching this young man since he's been drafted from mini rookie camp to OTAs to training camp last year, the amazing season that he had, and then coming in to this season and watching what he's doing now. And even though he doesn't have the the eye-popping blazing numbers that he had during his rookie year, all he's doing is stepping on the field and still winning. He said on Wednesday that Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs came to him and said, "You got it." And he was like, "What you mean I got it?" He's like, "No, you got it." And these two guys who have played with Joe Mixon played with Joe Burrow up in Cincinnati, and Stephon Diggs played with Josh Allen. Two quarterbacks that are definitely in the top 10, if not the top 7 in quarterbacks. And CJ Stroud is right up there with him. Indy, when you're watching him, when you're looking at him from a, not from a defensive standpoint, but from a NFL analyst, because people don't know you do some analyst work as well. But as an NFL analyst, what stands out to you about CJ?
his mind, between the ears. Last year in the preseason, so this is before his rookie year. I got a chance to call the preseason game. So during production meetings, we have one-on-one meetings with individual players. And as a rookie, the first time we spoke with CJ Stroud, when we were done, I remember thinking to myself, this dude is different, like in a positive way, almost to the point I thought he was weird. I was like, how are you this mature and you're this young? And it's the coolest thing. Like when you talk to him one-on-one, and I'm sure you've experienced this, like you ask him, if you ask me a question, I'll just start blabbering. Yeah. But like when you ask him a question, you almost see the wheels. Like he really thinks it through. Like he's not just gonna give you a BS. Now he might protect some of his answers, because he doesn't want to give you too much. But like he's really thinking it through. Then he like drops all these wise nuggets, and I'm like, man, are you? I don't believe in reincarnation, but you've been here before.
Yeah, right.
So when I had that interview with him, then I watched him play, and I saw the patience, the maturity. Even though he's ultra talented, he knew when to risk certain passes, when not to. I mean, we mentioned Joe Burrow, Josh Allen. I'm a big fan of both of them, but I'm already ready to say that he's better than both of those guys.
Yeah, and when you look at it, he takes it as a personal challenge when he goes up against those guys. He has another, big challenge this week heading into Lambeau against Jordan Love, another quarterback who had to wait his turn. And CJ was asked about him on Wednesday. He said, whatever God had prepared for Jordan Love to sit and watch the field, that was for him. God's plan wasn't for me to do that. God's plan was for me to jump right in and make my mistakes and mess up and lead my team and do whatever it takes to lead my team. And then when you have a quarterback like that, and I have like right now, and I know that we got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, we got Patrick Mahomes, and other players. Even I can't put him over Lamar Jackson because Lamar Jackson's having an MVP type season.
Mm-hmm.
And the Baltimore Ravens are starting to figure it out. And I know I'm side noting just a second, but the Baltimore Ravens are starting to figure it out. And that's bad for the rest of the league, not just the rest of the AFC, but it's bad for the rest of the league because you got Lamar running like that, you got Lamar passing like that, and then when you go to try to stop him, he just hands it to that tank that can get up to 100 miles an hour in less than 60 seconds, right, in Derrick Henry. And so they're starting to figure it out. So I definitely have Lamar as the number one quarterback in the league right now, but I'm putting CJ right there as well because of Indy. I don't know, and maybe you can compare him to a quarterback that you played against, but Indy, have you noticed his poise in the pocket? He never ever gets really flustered in the pocket. If you look at the numbers, he is like one of the highest rated quarterbacks when it comes to being under pressure. And you can't blitz him because his numbers get even higher when he's being blitzed. Former Texas offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton says that CJ can make all the throws, and because he can make all the throws and because he's so accurate, that gives him an opportunity to stand in and to see the field long enough to know where he wants to place the ball. Have you ever played against a quarterback like that?
Oh yeah, I mean the Tom Brady's of the world. Very early in my career, I'm showing my age. Dan Marino's of the world. Like I remember playing against the Miami Dolphins, and I was in Washington, young whippersnapper, and I was having literally one of my best games ever as far as beating the guy in front of me.
Yeah.
And I was just tattooing Dan Marino. But two things. His release was so quick. I didn't get a sack that game, even though I had my best. I felt like I just wasted my best moves. Like back in the day when you're at the club and you have all the best lines.
Yeah.
But, there ain't no fine broads in there. I'm like, man, I wasted this on this. So I feel like I wasted all those moves. But I say that to say those guys, even when you hit them, like there's quarterbacks when you hit them, you see in their eyes like, oh yeah, I got him. Like he's But like with Dan Marino, CJ Stroud now, they literally forget about it and they're just focused on the next play. And with CJ, it goes towards the maturity, the wisdom, his faith in God. And I think a lot of that comes with being the strong Christian that he is, because obviously when you're tied to that, you're not going to overthink things at times. And I just feel like he carries that maturity into a collapsing pocket. When that storm is coming down, he stays calm in the storm and continues to deliver.
Wait, Indy, hold on, time out. You played against Dan Marino.
I was like 22 and he was like 38 at the time. So yes.
And you still couldn't get no sack on the 38? Come on, Indy.
Well, guess who was blocking for him? Richmond Webb.
Oh. Hey, you know what? I was about to give you a hard time and saying, because how you not able to
Well, he's known for having one of the quickest releases in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, I definitely remember.
Peyton Manning was another one who had a quick release.
Oh, Peyton Manning?
He was another one, just because they know where they're going and they just go. So they don't even allow you to, get a chance to hit him.
Hey, does he talk a lot of trash, Indy?
He patronizes you. Like one time when I hit Peyton Manning, I hit him. Obviously, we both go on the ground. He completes the pass, and he like helped me up, patted me on the helmet. It's like, good try.
Good try.
Yeah. So it's like that backhanded compliment where you want to punch him, but you want to say thank you at the same time.
Once again, tune into the Sports Talk with Big Sarge Show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. I have former NFL player Indy Kalu. Indy, before I let you go, man, because I like this. I used to get a chance to spend 3 days a week with you, but then you went off to greener pastures, and that's the only way I can really talk to you. I can get you on the phone sometimes, but I got to wait till I hear you on your OG podcast with the Texans. Like, well, at least I know he's still around, or when you do your radio hits, but. Indy, I want to ask you if you don't mind, and you could tell me, hey, Sarge, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to talk about that, and I'll understand. But I want to just dip over into college football for a second, because a lot of this was taking place before you retired from radio, before you retired from doing in the trenches. You saw it coming. Indy, what do you think about the state of NIL right now?
Man, that's a great look. How much time do we got?
Hey, look, as long as you want, I ain't got nowhere to be.
I'm so back and forth when it comes to NIL. I love the fact that these guys are getting paid, but the way it's set up, I don't like that. So when I say I'm all over, I believe in capitalism. I believe in getting as much money as you can. If somebody's willing to pay it, that's your value. That's your market value. Go get it. Who is anybody to stop you? I truly believe that. But I do also feel like, and the kids don't care, because I've talked to college players, and when they bring this up, when I bring it up, they're like, man, oh man, we don't care about that. But I believe they're missing out on the camaraderie, the relationships of having that nucleus together in college for 3 to 5 years with the same group. You know, I'm 49 years old. Yesterday, I was at this very fancy River Oaks event honoring one of our centers from Rice, Tom Hetherington, who's a very, very successful lawyer in Houston. So, like, he was being honored yesterday. And so many guys from our era of Rice football, you know, that 4 or 5 year span showed up just to support him.
Yeah.
And I was talking to my son who plays at Baylor, and I was like, y'all aren't going to have this, you know, because a lot of your classmates that you know, your your rookie freshman class, they've already left to other schools, and y'all don't have that camaraderie. And I was like, y'all are missing that because of the portal and NIL. And he kind of gave me that stupid ass glazed look, like, I don't care, I'm getting money. He's like, so I don't think it should change because of that, but I hate that they're missing out on that. But I think the NIL, along with the portal, to where you don't have to sit out a year, that just causes cluster. Like, guys would think twice if they had to sit out a year, like how we had to. But so now you got guys who are balling out, who weren't recruited, you know, by certain schools, but they ball out, they prove, you know, everybody wrong, saying, show that they deserve. So then those certain schools that didn't think you were good enough 2 years ago, now they're telling you to come over here, and you go for the bag, which I respect, I get it, and you leave. So it's the movement, it doesn't feel like college football. It feels like semi-pro ball. Yeah. The last thing I'll say about it, though, I'm not going to lie, when I turn games on Saturday, the product is just as good, if not better. So that's why I'm kind of all over the place. Like, I don't like the moving around. I don't like that these guys don't feel like student athletes. You know, they just feel like semi-pro guys. But at the same time, I mean, today's Wednesday. UTEP's coming on. That's the only reason I'm not going to talk to you for 3 more hours, because I watch the UTEP game. So to me, college football is still exciting.
You know what, Indy, and you know, in the midst of you answering that question, it also, you know, something else clicked in my mind. And so I know that you are a huge advocate for education and getting a college education, you know, getting the education period. You know, you're all for educating yourself about everything. And, you know, especially if you can get a college education, get a college education. Indy, it's so hard because everybody doesn't make it to the NFL. Everybody is playing in college, you know, even at the, you know, these Power 5 schools, a lot of those players that's on there, they're not going to make it to the NFL. A lot of these players,
less than 1%.
Yeah,
like literally less than 1%. So,
and as talented as they are, and I'm going to ask you, is this the drawback of the NIL? Because you got these kids going to these schools, you got these young men going to these schools, and young men, young women, because everybody just looks at it as football, and we're just talking on the football aspect. But you got, you know, I think the Texas Tech, the pitcher at Texas Tech, softball pitcher at Texas Tech, left Stanford. Wasn't she like the player of the year?
She got a huge deal. It was either 500,000 or $1 million, but it was a huge deal. And I read up on that, and I know some people were hating, like they could have used that for football. Yeah. But if they have a magical run in softball, it'll be similar to like what we saw with Iowa women's basketball. Like, you know, when you think women's basketball now, you think Iowa, Kaden Clark. From what I hear, this young woman is that good to where she can like really change the program. But I do that. Keep going.
No, and so and you're right too, because she is really good. I watched them play. I watched her play. As a matter of fact, she can really pitch. And so, like, but when we're talking about making it to the NFL, some of these college players won't. Do you think that them getting the bag now, and you know, a lot of them are going to get a lot of money, but what happens when that money runs out and you didn't get a college education, and you know, now you're like, well, you know, I made $2 million in college, and some of these players, Indy, they're not equipped enough to, one, handle having that amount of money, two, having everybody with their hands out, knowing that you got that amount of money. You also got You know, now these agents are going to come along, and you got these other people that's going to swindle them out. You got accountants that could swindle them out of money. And I know I'm just saying, worst case scenario, could the NIL and the people taking the NIL, could that be a hindrance to them moving forward as far as their careers are concerned, even if it's not in the NFL?
No, because here's the thing. Because you're right. I mean, there's players, and I won't name them by name, but in my head, I'm thinking of actual college players that I know are getting over 500,000, but because of the position they play and how they play it, they don't have a future in the NFL. Like they're good college football players.
Yeah.
Now, in mind, they're going to the NFL, but I'll tell you right now, I'll bet my left nut that they're not going to make it to the NFL.
Yeah.
So the thought is, the NIL is not going to hurt them. It's how are they going to handle it?
Yeah.
So hindsight's always 20/20, and with age comes wisdom. If you go of the mindset, Frank Harris, I'll give him props. UTSA quarterback, was like a 7th-year college football player. I don't know exactly how much money he got, so I'm not going to get into his pockets. But he got paid some money. For those that know UTSA football, they know the name Frank Harris. So while he was getting all these extra years in college and getting paid, do you know what he did? He got his master's. He got his master's in something that actually matters. I had a chance to talk to him this summer, and I was like, "Man, how you doing? How you adjusting to life after football?" Big old smile on his face, sharp kid. Said, "Man, I'm good. I got my master's. I got a X amount in the bank."
Yeah.
And because of what he did at UTSA, everybody wants to hire him. So if you handle it like that, man, the NIL could be a beautiful thing. But unfortunately, we live in this, let's go get a Challenger, let's go get a Charger, put a wide body kit on it, and F off my money. But I don't think they have anybody to blame but themselves. So, but I get the idea. To even play college football at that level, you have to be a little detached from reality. So I understand if they're thinking, okay, I got 500 G's in college, I'm going to be a first-round pick, I'm going to get another $1 million. Like, you have to have that mentality. But there also has to be, that's where you have to have that grown-up in your life, that, and not some of these ignorant, I almost said the N-word, ignorant parents, who are telling little boo-boo, oh, man, you going to the league, like, man, go buy that car. Like, you got to have somebody to keep you grounded, like, hey, Big Sarge, just in case things don't work out in the league, save 200 G's and you have a nice nest egg once you get your degree. I don't think, I think the NIL could be beautiful, but you have to know how to handle it and make it a beautiful thing.
All right, Indy, before I let you go, man, I want to do a rapid fire with you. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Best rapper out of the South.
Best rapper ever is out of the South, and his name is Scarface.
Not Lil Wayne?
The best rapper ever is from the South, and his name is Scarface. Got a lot of respect for Lil Wayne. A lot of respect. But Scarface, he's the best.
All right, so if you could only have one meal daily for the rest, if there's only one meal you can eat for the rest of your life, which one? What would it be?
Ooh, that's a good one. Now, is it going to affect me health wise?
This is the only meal you can eat. So healthy, unhealthy, this is the only thing you can eat. You can't get nothing else.
Jollof rice and egusi soup.
I never had that before. Is it good?
Jollof rice? Oh yeah, it's a Nigerian dish. Yes.
Oh, dang, I definitely got to taste it. I've never had Nigerian food.
Really?
No. Is it spicy?
It could be.
I like spicy.
I mean, there's some spicy dishes.
Hey, you got this lunch date was supposed to happen 3 years ago.
Look, I was supposed to treat you to the turkey leg hut. Now I'm not even around, so we'll have to go get some neck bones from Kroger and eat it at the office.
Right? We gonna get a turkey leg and pass by the former place known as Turkey Leg Hut. Indie rapper R&B.
In my older age, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go rap, but I'm gonna go Christian rap because now when I listen to lyrics, I'm like, man, this is stupid. Like I'm like, that's dumb. So I've been like listening to a lot of Christian hip, like D1. I'll put you on some of them. Mike Teasy.
I don't know what that is. D1 to be jamming.
And you know what? They actually come hard. Like it's not the corny kumbaya. Like you might get a little offended with some of the things they're saying, but
Yeah.
you can't deny what they're saying. So
Lecrae's a Christian rapper too, right?
Hmm?
Lecrae, he a Christian rapper, right?
Yeah, he's one of the big ones, but there's some others that will really have you jam. There's some other ones I'll be jamming that I want to curse when I'm listening. I gotta remind myself what I'm listening to.
He'd be like, "Forgive me, Lord." I thought that, like, because if look back in my old days, I would have put this word right there to fit perfect. Exactly. DJ Screw or Swishahouse?
So Michael Watts or DJ Screw?
Yeah,
you got to go with the original DJ Screw. Right. Man, when I was at Rice in the '90s, it's called screw. Well, but you're listening. It's called screwing music, like slowing it down.
Yeah.
And they used to have a tape. I remember I had a Leah tape. It was all screwed. We had the Kurt Franklin tape, all screwed.
Kurt Franklin? Hold on, Indy. Y'all did not screw Stomp. And when I think about the goodness,
and it go hard too, it make me wanna.
Hey, wait, Indy, hold on, y'all listen. Silver and gold, silver, gold.
Now we didn't do it. DJ Screw did.
Yeah, oh man. All right, so Indy, what would be your walk-up song in baseball?
Look, now I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite because everything I just said, but C Murder, down for my. You know what I'm saying?
Where you gonna find the edited version of that?
No, there's an edited version. It's called "Down for My Hitters."
Oh,
baseball. So you know what I'm saying. So yeah, pun intended. So
all right. Well, what was your go-to song when you was in the NFL?
Well, I had a playlist.
In the Air Tonight.
That was the last. You know what? I had a man. You got a good memory. I had a playlist, and it was all Boosie, Scarface, Ghetto Boys, and I always ended it with Phil Collins in the Air Tonight.
So when it hit that part where it go do 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 do, is that when you got yourself amped up?
That's when I was like, I'm ready. I don't care who's in front of me. Let's go.
Boys to Men or Jodeci?
That's strong. Okay, it depends who I'm listening to with. Boys to Men, you listen to like with wifey material.
Yes.
Jodeci, something you picked up at Onyx. But that's a great. I'm gonna go, man. I'm gonna go Boys to Men.
And you know what? And
I feel the range was just a little bit bigger.
And I brought that up because the co-host. So I don't know if you know this or not, but I'm a co-host of the Locked On Texans podcast with John Hickman. Mm-hmm. And so John and I, actually Cody Davis and I were having this discussion, and then John and I were having this discussion, and I was like, yo, he said Jodeci, and I said, I'm gonna take Boys to Men. And then I told him, I said, look, if I just want to get like nasty and sweaty, I'm throwing in Jodeci.
Yeah.
But if I want to, lay up and hug and snuggle and spoon and all that, I'm putting on Boys to Men.
Yeah.
Because, it's just two different types of music. So I'm the exact same way. Mm-hmm. Last one I got for you. Prince or Michael Jackson?
Michael Jackson. Not even a question. Not even a question. Now, me and my partners, we had this discussion. I respect and understand, because my homeboy was like, well, Prince played all the instruments in his album. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's cool. Like, I respect that. But Michael just sounded better. So, and with his dance moves, I don't think you could compare anybody to Michael Jackson. Like,
he's greatest entertainer of all time, indeed.
Yeah, it's Michael Jackson. Like, I think that question should be Prince and somebody else. Like, who it would be, but I will put Michael in a whole different class of his own.
No, I get that. It's almost like when you're talking about certain people, as far as sports is concerned, like when they say, okay, so who let's just say who the GOAT, and some people have Michael Jordan. It's like, look, when we start talking basketball, there's certain players that you just keep out of conversations. Michael Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, like those people not in these conversations you trying to have over here, because
you could have those with one another though. Like to me, I'm a Michael Jordan guy, and I think it's more nostalgia. You like Michael Jordan, LeBron. That's a legit conversation.
Yeah.
Not like I think to go to what you're saying. If you start talking top quarterbacks, you have to say minus Tom Brady.
I got you.
You know, and with music, I think if you have any, in my opinion, if you have any discussion, you got to say minus Michael Jackson.
Right.
Like Michael Jackson, like people don't realize when he was on.
Yeah.
He had racist KKK members like jamming, like he brought everybody together.
And his music is timeless. Like you can still listen to his music right now. And Michael Jackson been passed away since 2009, I think.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so I think he just made 15 years. I only remember that because I was in basic training when he passed away. So yeah, you was talking about when you and your partner was having a conversation about Prince and Michael Jackson. I was like, man, I hope he about to say the same conversation we used to have. Be like, hey, Little Richard is Prince and Michael Jackson daddy. Y'all never had that? Y'all never said that?
No, I never even heard that one.
Oh my God, that's because we was poor, so we had to make up games. All right. And look, Indy, last one before we go. I'm finished with the rapid fire, but I have to ask you this because you have a son that plays Division I football, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at what LeBron James has done for his son in Bronny James, no matter if people believe that he should be there or not, when people, question his skill set, is he a real NBA player? And he only got to the NBA because of his father. And, the conversations I have is like, well, you need to look in the business world and look at how much nepotism runs rampant in that. Everybody is leaving something to their sons or to their daughters. But when you look at that, Indy, and how rare that is for a father-son combination to be playing on the same team, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a beautiful thing. Like the people, in my opinion, who are hating on it, they're jealous, they're envious. There's a lot of hate for LeBron James, and it stems from jealousy. Like, because this is a guy that very few phenoms live up to the expectations. And, he was a savant. Ever since he was 16, 17, they're showing him on ESPN. And if the only negative thing you can say about him is he didn't speak up for China during some political thing that I didn't even follow, or you didn't like how he aired the decision from the Boys and Girls Club, even though it raised money. Like, I think there's a little there's some reasons why people just don't like him.
Exactly.
But just what you said, nepotism, running. If you can do something for your son, you're gonna do it. But I hate when LeBron does it. It's only because this, that, or the other. Okay, well, Stephen Jones, is he the most qualified general manager or whatever position he holds for your Dallas Cowboys? I'm sure they could have found somebody else. But because his dad owns the team, and you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. That's fine. But don't pick and choose when it's okay and when it's not. LeBron's only, okay. I mean, I'll be the first one. He's probably there because his dad is LeBron. More power to him. Like, I know a lot of guys that I went to school with at Rice that they took over their daddy's business.
Yeah.
They might not have been the best qualified person, but it's their daddy's business. And if you say, well, LeBron doesn't own the Lakers, well, if he's running it and they allow him to do it, more power to him. So I think it's a beautiful thing to be able to share the court with your son. Like that's more power to him. Now, if it got to the point, which we know it won't get to, where he's starting and they're losing because of turnovers, then it's like y'all a little too far. But not good for LeBron James.
And what better way to do what better way to learn how to play NBA on the NBA level than one of the greatest to ever do it, and you getting paid to do it, and you ain't got to pay no rent because you still staying at the west wing of their house, So
while everybody's hating on him, he's collecting checks. Young Bronny, he's learning the business, and you taught me this. There was one show we had on Sports Talk 790 where I thought at the time that Bronny James should stay in college as long as he could and hone his skills and get his degree. And you said that would be a waste of time. And I was so adamant that you're never wasting your time in college. But you said he could learn everything from his dad and all those around him. For whatever reason, I was driving like 3 years after we had that argument.
Yeah.
And it just hit me like Big Sarge was right. Like you see that thing behind me? I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
That's my rights degree.
Yeah.
But I've learned so much more just running my business on the street from the mistakes I've made, from the mentors I've had. Then I learned all that taught me was time management and how to find loopholes. not cheat, but how to find loopholes.
Yeah.
Get a C when I needed a C. But I do agree with what you were saying, and he's learning so much. And hopefully Bronny's learning not just how to become a better basketball player, but seeing how his dad is running the business while playing basketball. And just think, if Bronny plays at however long he plays in the NBA, then let's say he goes overseas and makes another cool, few million before he comes to take over dad's business.
Yeah.
More power to you, brother.
The American dream. And Indy, let me tell you something. You're gonna probably have more moments like that because my takes is like old school cooking. Back in the day, we didn't have no air fry, no George Foreman grill, none of them microwaves, none of that. You had to cook the food, wait for if you was gonna cook an oven meal, you had to wait till it finished in the oven. So now we live in a microwave society where you just put it in and press, 2 minutes and it's done. Or you put it in the air fryer, or you put it on the Foreman grill, or whatever that you're using right now to eat it. My takes ain't like that, Indy. I ain't got no quick take. My takes it's gonna take some time. Like good food needs to marinate, good food needs to cook. So you're gonna be driving next week, and you're gonna be like, man, I do remember when Sarge said on his attention to orders that Tony Pollard was going to have a better season than Ezekiel Elliott, and it happened. Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott looks like me out there.
No, I'm talking about this is when Zeke was still with the Cowboys the first time, and Tony Pollard was just coming. I still remember. Don't worry about it, Andy.
You know what? I'll give you credit for one where it looked like it was about to come true, but now it's taking a back seat.
Jalen Hurts.
Huh?
Jalen Hurts.
That's it. Like when you first said it, I don't know if I was even bothered by it, but some other, I think callers were bothered by it.
Yep.
Then after last year or the year before, I was like, you know what, Big Sarge may have been on to something.
Yep.
But I think now he's kind of taking a step back. But when you said Jalen Hurts will have a better career than Donovan McNabb, people were, Big Sarge don't know what he's talking about, but it's like, he's close.
I put it like this: they got to get healthy. They finally got AJ Brown back, so they're looking better, and they got to get rid of their head coach. Like it's time. Once you get rid of head coach, you'll see Jalen Hurts going back to be who he was. All right, Indy, can you tell the people where they can find you at now, man? Since we no longer can hear you daily.
I don't need y'all to find me.
No, I'm talking about because you're still doing the podcast.
Oh yeah, I don't even know when it comes on. Like we recorded. Hold on, I know. We recorded because I text you from the parking lot.
Yeah.
On Tuesdays.
It's the OG podcast, right?
On Tuesday night or Wednesday. Look, if they want to find me, tell them to holler at Big Sarge. Or they got a good real estate. Look, this is the apartments we just bought. So if they got a good real estate deal and they need somewhere to live on the southeast side of town, they come holler at me.
Some apartments? Oh man.
Yeah, they renovated.
Oh man, let me borrow $20.
I'm in the hole about 20 million, so I need to get a refinance.
Hey, look, I like that, Indy. That's what rich people do. I always say, "Hey, man, I wish I had it, man, but I blah 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 blah." Yeah,
look,
sure.
Here's my wallet, no cash in there. No cash.
Hey, Indy, yeah, like Allen Iverson. Yeah, man, y'all know Allen Iverson broke. Is he really broke? Because I heard he still got $50 million stashed away somewhere that he can't get to. He's like 45 or something. He ain't broke. He just ain't got it right now. So I understand You may not have it right now. You can tell me that, but don't worry. I'm persistent. I'm gonna ask in 2 weeks.
Look, there's some people out there, celebrities. They say they're broke, but I look at them. I'm like, like with Mike Tyson, isn't he supposed to be broke?
Yeah,
but he seemed like he's living pretty comfortable lifestyle. But guys like that, especially Tyson, they can just go do something and make 100,000. If Mike Tyson was started today with $0,
yeah.
If he hustled and wanted to, he could be a millionaire by the end of the year.
Well, in your world, though, go ahead. My bad, I mean cut you off.
That's it.
No, I was gonna say because in your world, Indy, in your world, and the people you rub elbows with, when they say they're broke, they just mean they're not liquid.
Well, I won't say the people I roll with, but you're right. Like they'll say they're property rich and cash pro, so cash poor. Like they own a bunch of properties, but they have to sell some if they need some cash. But I'm struggling over here.
Right from your office, your big office, and your 7. Look, wait a minute. Let me look. Hold on. Now that chair right there, at least by 2,500.
Hold on. Look. Can you see all these scrapes and scratches?
That's okay though. That's still good leather though. That's still good leather.
Look, that's old.
That's good leather right there, Indy. You can't fool me. Look, thank you for joining us today, Indy. I really appreciate that. You've been tuning into the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. Make sure you follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media, and make sure you follow me on Instagram at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Because y'all know we do everything for the gram. Indy, I really appreciate it, man. And hey, let me hold $20.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work. Hard work.